And what is up, YouTube? My name is G3 Iron, and we are 9 days, 16 hours, 52 minutes, and 28 seconds away from Path of Exile 3.5 Betrayal League being dropped. And today we've gotten a bunch of different announcements and teasers for content that's coming out in Betrayal League. Not the least of which today is buffs and changes to Cast on Crit, which today we're going to take a look at a couple of different builds that used to be OP and that used to be literally game-breaking, that some people on their rigs could or could not play depending on the gem setup and the particular builds that you are running with CoC, which for those of you that are new to Path of Exile, that stands for Cast on Crit. So there's a buff that's going down for Cast on Crit that'll be made live for 3.5. As well as today we got some announcements regarding Divination Cards. So we're going to go over both of those today, and I'm quickly going to show you a couple of videos and a couple of builds that other people have brought back up both on the forums as well as on Reddit, as we've been discussing since the news was made live that CoC is getting a buff. So first we're going to chat a little bit about CoC getting a buff, and then we'll wrap up our discussion with talking about the much hyped Divination cards that are coming out in Betrayal League. So first off, this is what Cast on Critical Strike is going to look like. This is the buffed level 20 version of Cast on Critical Strike. So you can see here that for those of you that have never played a CoC build, Cast on Critical Strike does the following. It must support both an attack and a spell skill to work. The attack skill will trigger a spell when it critically strikes an enemy. Cannot support totems, traps, or mines. Vol skills, channeling skills, and skills that reserve mana cannot be triggered. Supported skills deal 39% more spell damage. Supported skills have 20% increased critical strike chance. Supported attacks will trigger a supported spell when you crit an enemy. You cannot cast supported triggerable spells directly. So, for those of you that maybe you've seen the Poet's Pen builds that fly around that activate various spells based on attacks, Cast on Crit builds function where a lot of the time you will be using a singular attack in order to get a very high crit rate, and when you crit something, the whole screen just explodes with a bunch of different spells that are very, very high level and do a bunch of different damage. The buff that's going on here is a buff to the cooldown timer on the Cast on Critical Strike. So it's been nerfed, I believe, 3 times over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, to where it used to be in air quotes, what it is presently, pre 3.5, is that the internal cooldown on Cast on Critical Strike is 0.5 seconds. So that means you're only able to cast, if you crit, let's say twice or 3 times, 3 times per second, that means you're wasting essentially a crit, because the internal cooldown is only half a second. It's 0.5 seconds. Well, now what will be in 3.5 is that you're going to have 0.15 seconds of cooldown, which is presently better, if not on par. If not better, it's on par with Poet's Pen, which we've all seen how strong Poet's Pen is in Delve League, and how many different players are using Poet's Pen and Volatile Dead to push into the deepest depths of Delve. And so Cast on Critical Strike, the long and the short of it is, it's back. So let's take a look really quickly, just comparing side by side. Here's a quick comparison, what used to be, which is 0.05 seconds, so half a second cooldown on the internal cooldown. And what that internal cooldown again means is that the socketed spells wouldn't trigger. So if you're continuing to crit with your attack and you've got this fast attack rate, it doesn't matter. The socketed spells simply wouldn't trigger while there was this internal cooldown going on. Whereas now, my goodness, you can see with that buff, that is just going to be huge in terms of the change in the quality of life for Cast on Critical Strike. Cast on Crit is back. So, that being said, let's take a look at a couple of different builds that people have passed along and mentioned today as we've been chatting and having the hype train go around for Cast on Crit. This is LiftingNerdBro's, and I'll post the link to it down in the, I'll post the link to all of these down in the video description. But this is LiftingNerdBro's version of a Quill Rain Cast on Crit Assassin. And this is, what year was this from? This was from 2016. So you can see him, he's running around here, and every time he attacks, basically ethereal, I believe it's, ethereal knives, or spectral throw, sorry, spectral throw is going out with sparks, and you can see he's using a couple of different uniques here. But the gameplay footage, let me jump to, I believe it was 240, is pretty sick as he's just boom blowing away the entire screen. You can see the sparks just flying all over the place. That's not because he's self-casting those sparks. He is critting every time he attacks, basically, and that's what's filling the screen with all of these extra spells. So that's the first one, and that the build enabler really is Quill Rain. Next is another cast on crit, Quill Rain. This is from Wurps. And you can see here he just blows up packs. This is from 2013, so this is already 5 years ago. That cast on crit was just really, really strong. And you can see he's got 6 power charges as he's running around and blowing up packs. You'll see he basically just hits a pack once and it just blows up with the lightning and the shock damage. When you've got six, my goodness, power charges, like everything's gonna blow up and you're just gonna crit everything. So that's another great cast on crit Quill Rain build from all the way back in 2013. This is the Tanky Twirl. This, I believe, is from IamSalvation. Again, the link will be down below, but this is a Tanky Twirl cast on crit. You can see he's got some Blade Fall action going on and some Ethereal Knives action going on as he's using Cyclone as the attack in order to proc all of those beautiful spells. He is on, I believe, on Assassin as his ascendancy, as he is just stacking. You can see up there in the top left, he's stacking power charges again at 6 power charges, and that's him fighting the Chimera, a tier 16 Shaper Guardian. This is the 2.2 Assassin CoC Ground Slam, and it just blows everything up. You can actually see this is published by Ken Ho, and this is from 2016 is when he was using this. You can see that really the only drawback to this particular style of play is whether or not your computer can handle it. Other than that, it's pretty fantastic just watching everything melt. And all the different spells get triggered by critting using Ground Slam. You can see him just jumping around waterways here, blowing everything up. All right, the next one is Blade Vortex. This is going to be a Blade Vortex. This is a Mathil build, so those of you that are aware of the Mathil effect that we talk about all the time in Bank of Exile, you can see here he's going to jump in. Oh boy, he's going to crit off of using Blade Vortex, and everything just explodes. So there's discharges going off along with Blade Vortex and, of course, Cyclone to proc everything. It's just ridiculous. Here he is killing Edziri's Guardians, or Edziri's pack that's right before her. It is just absolutely sick to see the damage that's capable with CoC builds. One last one here. This is Cute Dog showing off back in 2017, so just about a year ago. And this, I will just say this right away. Cute Dog is notorious for playing the fastest clearing builds. So just watch and see how quickly he blows things up. All he's doing is just shield charging. That's all he's doing. And that shield charge is then proccing discharge, which is exploding everything as he COCs everything to death. And you can see he is using a Headhunter because he's got a bunch of the Headhunter buffs there at the top. As we wrap up today's video, at much anticipated and as was promised, upcoming Divination cards. So we've got a bunch of them coming out with this set, but 4 of them have been released today. So first one, this one's just meme as can be, a dab of ink, as you see the character in the portrait dabbing, literally dabbing. I'm not going to dab. There's no way. Not if we get to 100 Patreon supporters am I going to do a dab. No, it's no way. Anyway, so you collect 9 of these and you get the Poet's Pen. The Sacrifice, which is a 6-link sacrificial garb, item level 100, so that's pretty fantastic. For those of you that like to farm div cards and you need another 6-link, here's another source for a 6-link, but probably out of the 2 of these, probably out of all of these, the Poet's Pen is probably going to be the most anticipated thing, because it means now in Solo Self-Found you can at least target farm Poet's Pen. The Life Thief is the divination card that drops in a pack of 6. It's for Zerfi's Last Breath, which is ridiculous. And then the Master Artisan, which drops 20 times quality currency. So you can think of things, obviously, like Blacksmith's Whetstone, the Armorsmith's Whetstone, or sorry, the Armorsmith Stone that can increase quality. But you could also think of things that are also currency, like GCP gemstone cutters that are also quality currency, or chisels that also, of course, increase the quality on your map. So there's a couple of different currency generating options for the Master Artisan. These three items certainly are probably going to be the more chase kind of farmable cards with a dab of ink. And the Life Thief, generating a lot of discussion today about whether or not this is going to mean a nerf is on the way for the very, very popular Poet's Pen builds that are out there, simply because if Poet's Pen is going to be more prevalent, then GGG has often had a pattern of nerfing things that they make more available. So we'll see. We're not sure yet, but certainly once patch notes come out next week, if Poet's Pen and Xerfe's Breath get nerfed, then people will look back on these divination cards and say, oh yeah, they're making these things more available, but they're nerfing the numbers in the end. Anyway, let us know what you're hyped for. What sort of build will you want to play if you play a cast on crit build? I've already got a couple in mind, but between brands and banners and now CoC getting buffed, there's just a ton of different stuff that I want to try out in the new league, and it's going to be tough to decide what to play. But you can imagine a lot of uniques that have been like 1C to 1 ALC over the last year to 2 years will start to come back. Because, as many have said today already, CoC's back on the menu and everybody's excited. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know what build you're planning on playing and which out of these upcoming divination cards you're going to farm as you are playing and enjoying Betrayal, because we are 9 days, 16 hours, 40 minutes, and 25 seconds away.